Hello, ma'am. Yeah, Ankita, we got Shiny ma'am with us.
Good evening, ma'am.
Ma'am, your mic is muted.
Pangaukar sir will just be joining in, right?
Right, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. We'll start the YouTube streaming.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hey, good evening, everybody. We are just waiting for Pangaukar sir to join in, and we'll be starting.
Hi, Shiny, I'm here.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Are you able to see me?
Sir, yes,
Dr.
sir.
Shailesh Pangakar is in the meeting now.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. I think we can start. Ankita, ma'am. Yes, you can go ahead.
Let me check with the sharing. Okay, I'm just not comfortable with this app. Where is the sharing part? Share.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the first talk of Psychic Cafe Talk series on the special occasion of World Mental Health Day. As we all know, it is very essential to be fit, not just physically, but mentally too. Mental health should always keep pace with the physical fitness. In the fast moving world, it has become very difficult to cope up with the mental health, hence, shooting up the mental disorder rate worldwide. Also, this affects the mood, thinking, behavior, or action of a person. So, it becomes immensely important to spotlight mental health in his era and take necessary measures as and when required. Let's welcome Dr. Shaini Suraj ma'am, psychological counselor at Megi Group of Institute. Dr. Suraj is a doctor, psychologist, adolescent coach, regression therapist, life coach, and a relationship expert. We are glad to have Dr. Shaini Suraj ma'am today with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ankita. Yes, so we are moving ahead with the Psychic Cafe talks. And today we are all have met here for the first round of talks. And yes, as said by Ankita, mental health matters. And so it means that, yes, we should speak out openly about mental health. Now, at this age, it is said that half of the mental health issues, they begin by age 14 and they are undetected and they are untreated. And so what happens in future as the children are chasing their goals and you're walking on all the streets of life, at one stage in an adult life, all these problems take over and then you cannot lead a fulfilling life. So it is rightly said that these problems or these things have to be identified at the earliest. We all say that, yeah, nothing can happen to me. Yes, expect it. Nothing can happen to anybody. But the problem is we all have different personalities. We all think different. We all feel different. And the way we cope up is different. So as personalities are different, we all have our different styles of coping. We all have a different adjustment mechanisms. And so whenever a crisis or a situation comes, we may go down. I mean, some can bear up very easily with good resilience, but for some, it can create stress, anxiety. For some, it may be depression, and it may be so on. And if left untreated, yet they would definitely harm us in future. So yes, mental health matters, and so we have to talk about mental health very openly. We need to talk on this subject, right? So we need to motivate and we need to push up our efforts in whatever can be done, as we all want to stay happy, we all want to stay healthy, but yes, physical health also does get affected due to mental health. And so our topic today, we are creating happiness with good mental health. And for that, yes, we have with us Dr. Shailesh Pangaukar. So once again, Vicesians, I welcome all of you all. And again, over to Ankita for an introduction of Dr. Shailesh Pangaukar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. The today's topic, is creating happiness through good mental health. It is our privilege and pleasure to have our expert, Dr. Shailesh Pangakar, the consultant psychiatrist and a director of Central Institute of Behavioral Science, Nagpur. He is currently working on sports psychology and cooperative sciences as a passion preventive and spiritual psychiatric as a mission. He has conducted 128 workshops for the medical fraternity and has interviewed on television 14 times and on All India Radio AIR 164 times. He has delivered 86 talks for IMA. Dr. Shailesh Pangaonkar is himself an inspiration for many due to his wisdom and information which he shares in his talks. We wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, to the first talk of session by Psychic Cafe Talks. Over to you, sir.
Uh, in fact, thank you very much, Shani, for giving me. Am I visible to you and audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Right. Sorry, these are technical issues. This tool is new to me. In fact, yeah. Basically, I'm not. So we get connected by the Connect to Clinic app. Just a minute. I think is it visible now to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's visible.
Okay, great. At last. Okay, I just want to clarify certain issues regarding mental health. You know, there is a confusion between mental illness and mental health, and we are celebrating Mental Health Week. So I am really thankful to your organization, especially Shiny, to provide me this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to interact with these budding minds. You know, those who are going to be the main stalwarts and pillars of this nation. And we must know that mental health is a different component. In fact, it is definitely the strength with which humans have reached this developmental phase, this advancement in society and technology. It's all mental health. So many times we get, the word mental health confuses us with mental diseases like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar mood disorder, suicidal behavior, drug addiction. Now, these are all mental illnesses occurring because we are regressing sometimes in our mental health. So there is a need to discuss more commonly with youngsters like you that we must know our mental health level today. And it's an opportunity I would like to actually utilize to reach you with this clarity in your mind henceforth. I know I'm not going to raise your mental health in this one single talk, but at least it will open up your views. It will make you think about how to improve and where we are as far as our mental health issues are concerned. Okay, so you must know that health is defined as a stage of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. That means absence of disease is not health. It is basically much more than absence of disease. So health is thus the balanced development of the individual personality and emotional attitude, which enables them to live harmoniously with his or her fellow men or women. In 1950, WHO Experts Committee on Mental Health reviewed the various definitions of mental health which is available and observed it as it is influenced by both biological and psychosocial factors. The capacity in an individual to form harmonious relationship was considered as primary. So your comradeship, your friendship, your collaborative work and your cooperative work is more important as a hallmark or a representation of mental health according to the WHO experts. But according to the further enhancement in the definition, a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope up with the normal stress of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community is called as mental health. So it is emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Now, definition of health is according to this means that we have to be physically well. We must perceive ourselves as well in physical, mental, and social domains. And Carl Menninger, he defines mental health as an adjustment of human beings to the world and to each other with a maximum of effectiveness and happiness. So becoming happy means like becoming one with the rest of the world. So when we have grudges, when we have jealousies, when we have comparisons, when we have competitions, usually we go lower in our mental health when we have all these feelings regarding our fellow men and competitors. The APA also adds certain things in 1980. Simultaneous success at working, loving, and creating with the capacity for mature and flexible resolutions of conflicts. I'm going to discuss what conflicts we have between instincts, conscience, important other people, and reality which we face in life. So it is much more comprehensive, much more bigger than what we actually use this simple word called as mental health. It is a big thing which involves society with the individual. It classifies the individual into various roles, and then how you are defined or perhaps refined in presenting your role to this world. How much are we committed in our goals? How much are we able to cope up with the pathways towards our goal? Whatever goal we have, we'll have some ups and downs on the trail, on the road, and these pathways are going to challenge us. How do we enjoy these challenges on the path? And how are we clear with our goal? Is all mental health. So the World Federation of Mental Health has recently come out with a 3-point definition of mental health based on the following 3 questions. Do you feel good about yourself? That's a very pertinent question. Are you in the right field? Are you happy with your academics? Are you happy with your people around? Are you comfortable with your colleagues? Are you finding it able to meet with life's demands? Now, as a student, the demands are basically coping up with the syllabus, preparing yourself for the exams, in the eyes of the others, your marks and your grade and your, all these performances are going to matter. So how do you see? In fact, nowadays, when you have this social media, how many likes do you get? Or do you wait for those likes and crave for the buttons again that you have to see your responses or the responses of the others? Now, these are all part and parcel of the assessment of your mental health. A good mental health is about wellness rather than illness. It includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and is usually described as a state where a person can cope with the normal stresses of life, work productively, and is able to make a meaningful contribution to the community. So it's a balance of your personal desires versus the expectations of the outside. Now, when we talk of illnesses, we talk of thinking, overthinking at times, being obsessed and troubled, feeling emotionally low, broken up in life, not able to cope up with situations and feeling depressed, anxious, worrying about failures in the future exams, so anxiety crops up, or sometimes you become snappy and become irritable. Many of these symptoms are signs of lowering down of mental health, may not get classified as mental illness many times. Believe me, when you will feel depressed for more than 2 weeks and you are not able to cope up with your regular lifestyle or perhaps daily routine, not able to sleep well for 2 weeks, not able to concentrate on your studies for 2 weeks, then it is called as major depressive disorder. Or perhaps when your thinking catches up with some delusionary principles, then perhaps you go into an obsessive compulsive disorder or perhaps schizophrenia. Or when the mood swings to such a level that you start thinking about ending life, or perhaps even thinking as if we are God, then perhaps it falls into the diagnostic criteria of depression, mood disorders, bipolar mood disorder, mania, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, eating disorders. All these disorders are very well delineated by the diagnostic criteria. So there has to be a duration, there has to be a intensity of the symptom lasting for that duration. It must compromise the basic functioning. But before all these illnesses become really evident on the diagnostic criteria, we may experience these kinds of ups and lows in life. They are not illnesses. They are basically the negative effects of our declining mental health. Somewhere all challenges, as Einstein has said, a problem, it remains a problem till we don't elevate our wisdom to see it. Once you have passed your 10th standard, 10th was never a trouble for you. Everybody, when you guide any child who appears for the 10th board exam, for the first time the board exams are there, say it's very easy. But when you were in that state, or when I was in that state, I felt it is the toughest of the exams. So it is always the rising wisdom which overcomes the problem, and then we don't find that problem as a problem at all. Similarly, these situations are sometimes challenged by the situations outside, and then we find that our coping mechanisms are weak, and then we improve our coping mechanisms, we come out of it, and then we are healthier mentally. So declining mental health creates ups and downs in moods, thinking process, sleep patterns, eating patterns. When they get prolonged with high intensity, then they get classified into disorders and mental illnesses. But before that, we can, in fact, understand that our mental health needs attention. So a good mental health is highlighted by emotional stability, subjective well-being. Emotional stability, you understand that you don't easily get disturbed emotionally. So there are students who come to me, they say, I'm extremely emotional. I said, how are you emotional? I asked. They said, every small thing around me can hurt me. If I see a beggar begging on the street, I start feeling. Now, this is sympathetic emotionality. You start feeling the emotions and the pent-up feelings coming up as soon as you see some kind of threat. Threat means you identify yourself at times in that place. So subjective well-being is basically Atma Santosh, that I am happy with whatever I am, or whatever I have, or whatever I am doing. This is subjective well-being. Coping up with stress and challenges, understanding that stress is going to be an integral part of my life because I am selecting a pathway of success, and vitality always will have stress. Now, I'll talk about it, that stress management principle do not talk about stress eradication at all. It's stress management, because we also get stress when we enjoy, when we are on the roller coaster, when we are on the giant wheel, or when we are seeing a movie in a dark room. Our body has to be bombarded by those stimuli which are basically stressful to the body, but we convert that stress into eustress. And sometimes even comfortable position like sitting here in an AC room talking to you can become distressful if I am not comfortable with myself. So I am coping up well if I am able to convert the stress into an eustress situation. Harnessing potentials for benefiting self and others. That means I have a potential, I am aware of it, and I am able to actually channelize it into the right path. So I am able to help myself and others because I have this potential. Doing justice to the role we play. We have various roles. There are certain unwished roles and there are certain roles by choice. Like we are children, not by choice, but we have been given that as a role of being children, son or daughter. And that's what we actually feel comfortable with when we accept it. There are people who don't even feel comfortable with their male or female body and they keep changing their gender and undergo those transgender surgeries. So remain in search of selfhood. Who I am, what I am doing, am I right? The identity which we have has three domains. What people look at me as, what I see myself as, and what I am actually as. So maybe what I am actual, what I am real, what I am the real self has to be searched. People who are successful, which I see the Pool, Captain Pool, the Casanova, which has divided the world into two different views. One, they call him promiscuous and bad, and the other call him as the most successful, most talented person in the history. They troubleshooters around. Dr. John Nash, who suffered from schizophrenia, fulminant schizophrenia, having hallucinations, delusions, and still receiving the Nobel Prize. So these are the people who have gone against all odds. They have different views about themselves in the world, but they are the people who actually could reach themselves at times and they knew who they really are. So when we see big people, their domains are closer to each other. What they know about themselves, what they actually are, and what people know about them, they are close to each other, these three domains. When these three domains separate out, it becomes mental illness. And that's what we say, disintegrating self. In the highest variety, it becomes schizophrenia. So in spite of that, we can see John Nash working upon his mental health. Now, there are some facts associated with mental health. These are studies which have come up in the last 50 years. People with good mental health, they overcome tragedies and downfalls more effectively than others. People who have good mental health use threats as opportunities in life. Those who are better in their mental health, they can resist medical illnesses, including infections, successfully. Very well proved by these two corona pandemic waves. People who have been able to come out of the serious conditions, they had better mental health, and hence they were considered to be successfully coping up with the stress of infection. Win social support more easily, so they are more popular and they are more powerful. Face competition more happily, so they use competitions for their success more interestingly and more happily. Succeed in achieving their dreams or goals more frequently, so they are more successful. Why? Because there is a frequency which is higher in achieving these goals and dreams. Powerfully led from the front, they have been leading from the front, they are powerful leaders. They have bounced back to higher plane of performance after a severe setback, like people like Iyako, people who had gone very low in their life. They have seen the miseries of life. They have seen the deepest of the poverty. They have been broken many times, but they come out, bounce back, and they become more and more successful. So there are personalities which can, become our role models. Can we improve our mental health? It's a big question. Yes. And it is necessary to keep improving our mental health. Higher versions of softwares are bug free. So that's how we improve our versions. Higher mental health is an insurance, is an immunity, like a vaccination, and a security from perishable states like poverty, depression, anxiety, suicide, drug addictions, and even crimes. So WHO has launched a program to improve mental health of everybody. Why? Because we want to stop. In fact, it was ignited by the spread of HIV in 1980s. So that made everybody think how to prevent the promiscuous behavior and impulsivity of the people, which will also decrease the crimes, drug addictions, and suicidal behavior. So definitely we have to improve our mental health. And yes, it can be improved. And that's what we are here to discuss today. How to improve our mental health? You have to keep cultivating the habit of learning. Always. Being humans, we have to learn, and we have to learn life skills, emotional quotient as given by Goleman, and self-management taught everywhere. So self-management is resilience, and there are various names given to it. Mindfulness program, resilience development program, role expedition and role perfection program, neuro-linguistic program, stress management program. All these are included under self-management program and emotional quotient learning, life skill learning. So I'll take the small example of life skill learning, what exactly it is. And that will make you think about, what exactly, because there are various scientists all over the decades, many decades, there have been various definitions and words which came up and became popular. Sometimes it becomes spiritual quotient, sometimes it becomes work-life balance, sometimes it becomes becoming better managers, how to encash on subconscious power, how to become more positive thinker. They are all basically belong to one category, that is developing or improving mental health to higher levels. I will take the example of life skills because all life skills are mentioned on all books nowadays. They are written at the back of the page. Every book from NCERT, if you read, it will have life skills at the last page, on the last, perhaps on the cover page. So what are life skills? See, self-awareness, coping with emotions, stress management. Now, why are the three skills mentioned in the beginning? Because they make us higher than the other animals. Then once we become better than other animals, we have creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making abilities. So once we develop these 4 skills, then we have better interpersonal skills, communication skills, and empathy. So once we reach empathy, then we become the highest level of wisdom, highest level of social being, and highest level of a comrade. Perhaps let us take the leadership program in us. And that leadership program requires interpersonal skills, communication skills, and empathy. Now, These are all skills which have been discussed in the CBSE and other schools. But let us today, for your sake, I will just concentrate on the self-awareness. What is self-awareness? Is it just the grooming of the body, going to the gym regularly, or is it something more than that? Are you aware about your goals? So there are certain questions we must ask. Do we ever ask ourselves these questions? Why are we different animals? Why are we? What is different between us and others? Why do we develop roles, rules, and social norms when other animals don't have? Why do we need to learn, practice, and exert for socio-occupational stability? So much of pain, so much of investment, so much in so many years of learning. Why do we need to do? Can we really differentiate between dream, our dream, desire, and real decision? Are we sure? Ask yourself whether to become an engineer was your dream or was it your desire? क्या वो आपका सपना था या इच्छा थी या क्या आपका निश्चय था, निर्णय था? Was it your decision? It's very important that we should know that what we think at times may not be our thoughts. They can be just desires, emotions. They can be just pressures from outside that you are thinking about. So are they really your decisions is a very difficult task to come to conclusion. Can we really resolve the conflict between what is necessary for me and what is likable for me? We are most of the time in this conflict that sometimes the likable is not necessary. Meeting friends may not be necessary at this time, but it is likable, so it overpowers me. And what was necessary? Necessary was to apply myself to the family or perhaps to my academics, but it has been not attended. Or sometimes the necessary and likable become one. That I love talking and I love chatting and I am a chatterbox, which is my love. It becomes a passion, it becomes necessary for my profession. So I am very happy in this combination. But sometimes the other things happen. Like sometimes when I like to move out, but I am unable to take break. And because I have to attend the sick, more importantly, as a necessary act. So do we really respect and love ourselves? These are all questions which we are going to discuss. Now let us discuss one by one on this. And you will come to know how to develop the cognitive, the thinking apparatus which human beings are so much gifted with. Are we different animals? This is a question. Are we different than other animals? Is nature has been partial or perhaps discriminatory in making us different than others? Definitely it has. Definitely we have evolved. How? None of the animals have been given the gift of manipulating time and emotions. We have got that ability. Imagine if you have, आपको अगर सडनली कोई हिलेरियस जोक आता है, बहुत ही हंसाने वाला जोक आता है, वो आप पढ़ के हंसने ही वाले होते हैं और उसमें आपका कोई फ्रेंड आता है, उसके फादर गुजर चुके हैं अभी रिसेंटली कोरोना में. Do you laugh? Or when you are entering the house of some senior and you have read this joke and you cannot share it with him, but you are internally bubbling out. So, but you don't allow yourself to share that joke because it is disrespectful to share this joke to a senior person. This is not available to any animal. Second, we can break the frame of time. If you need to study, you are studying overnight. You can sleep at any time. You can eat at any time. You can procreate at any time. No other animal has this ability. Believe me, they have fixed times. Their circadian rhythms govern them. They will sleep at specific time. They will be hungry and then only they will eat. And they can only procreate at certain times of the month, but perhaps days or even for those hours. We have got a control over it. We have the will to actually execute this instrument, and hence we are different. Another thing which has been given to us by nature is we can actually communicate ourselves beyond ourselves. If I have to reach you, now I am using this medium, which must have evolved through the system that must have made people think to send a letter using a pigeon. So the birds were used to send the letters to different distance places. People learn how to shout and reach people. From there, we have evolved to the system that I'm sitting in my chamber, reaching you visually and auditively. This is not possible unless until we have that instinct which makes us inquisitive to the level that we want to reach beyond my physical being. So that physical being has got a different meaning in us than the physical being the animals have in themselves. It's all because this frontal lobe, the part of the brain which has evolved above the eyebrows and has come to shade the eyeballs, which is basically not there in any other animal. All have a frontal lobe which is very small. We have a frontal lobe which is evolving, and this has evolved our roles. The roles which we understand have been received by us without choice, that we realize that we accept the teaching of our teachers. Suddenly when I realized that when I was 6-year-old and my teacher said A for apple, I learned A for apple. They taught me the rhymes Dawa black sheep. Without meaning, I could remember it and I could recite it and make my people around happy. I was not knowing the meaning of it. I had not seen apple till I was 12 years old, but I learned A for apple. Had I used my logic, I would have told my teacher why she is teaching A for apple. I would have contradicted her. I would have said, take a deep breath, leave the breath. What do you feel? I feel the air. Air has only 3 alphabets. A-I-R. A for air is a better option than A for apple. No, we never use logic to accept certain gifts which are not by choice. So remember, it makes life more comfortable. We are more comfortable to demand our requirements or fulfill our requirements at home because we have accepted the roles of being children. We are not sure any time that really we are their biological children, but they are sure that we are their biological children. We are not sure. No child is very sure about the reality or perhaps the proof of his birth with the parents' relationship. But then by accepting this, we become more and more comfortable, more and more powerful, more and more easy and clear with our relationships. Similarly, these rules which are imposed on us are also made for safety. We are an independent nation, isn't it? So we should be able to do whatever we feel like, but we have to travel or drive from the left side for the sake of the society, for the sake of safety of self. We have to follow certain rules. Nobody likes to pay taxes, but we have to. And these are the rules which are imposed on us. For a free country, we need to follow the rules of freedom. So freedom comes with rules. So comes the social norms. We develop society for our learning, and we have to have certain syllabus for the learning. We have to have exams for our learning. Then only we'll feel proud of being a good student of this society. Do we need to learn, practice, and exert for socio-occupational stability? This is very important. No other animal has to. You know, when I was 8-year-old, I saw a dog eating grass. And when I reported this to my mother, she said, don't go near. His tummy is upset. He will vomit and he will be okay. And really it happened so that the dog vomited and then started playing. It surprised me. And it surprises me more now that no dog has put a board, a gastroenterologist board, or perhaps a doctor for the tummy ache, or perhaps anything. Why? When the knowledge was instantly available, in the wisdom, in an innate wisdom, or as an inborn intellect, had that knowledge, why did the dog not think of practicing it? Even using the primitive techniques like a barter technique, whereas you bring me a bone, I will give you the medicine. It didn't happen. Why? Because there was no need for socio-occupational stability for an animal, which we described ourselves as socially identified human beings. So our identity is associated with society. There are herds, there are prides of the lions, but they are basically in a corporate which work on their individuality itself. We work for the others, and that's why we are different socio-occupational stability. Can we really differentiate it between dream, desire, and decision? Can you tell me how will you distinguish between your dream? Have you ever thought that it was your dream to actually go into engineering or any other field? Or was it your desire to become an engineer? Or was it your decision? It's very, very confusing at times. Even for me at times nowadays. That whether I really want to see patients or really I want to earn money. That's a real question. Was my learning all process was to actually enjoy the knowledge, or was it the outcome of the knowledge? Was I investing into acquiring knowledge, or now whether I'm investing my knowledge to acquire money? It's very difficult. So let us discuss. I'll give you a very simple technique to understand whether it is your dream, whether it is your desire, or whether it is really your decision. Because decision making has to be very perfect. If you are not decisive, you will not execute naturally into it. Like, we have been gifted. When I look at my body, when I learned for the first time the anatomy and physiology of the human body, I realized the most essential part, or the most essential resource required for living is air, breathing. And how much do I invest myself in thinking about breathing? How much do I invest really in breathing? Am I aware most of the time that I am breathing? But why am I aware most of the time that I have to earn? Why am I aware or most of the time effortful to earn popularity, money, for that matter power, or even for that matter knowledge? I am, whether it is my desire to earn, to learn, or whether it is my dream, or whether it is my decision, is a natural reflex when it comes to a decision. This nose or these eyes, they do not differentiate once they know that they have to protect the eyeball or they have to protect the body. A small speck, whether it is a dust speck or whether it is a gold particle or whether it is a small jewel, this nose will not decide what should I do. It will sneeze. The reflex of success is a decision, a program, a reflex after you have taken a decision. Can we really resolve the conflict between necessary? Just 1 minute. I'll just complete the dream, desire, and decision by a simple technique. Just ask yourself 4 questions. If you anytime get an idea that you should be studying something, or you should be eating somewhere, or you should be meeting a friend, or you should join a gym, or you should buy a motorcycle or a car, ask yourself why you want to decide it or why you want to do it. Keep asking yourself a question of why. Sometimes, it happens we get impressed by certain things. We are influenced by these stimuli and we get conditioned. Like when I saw a photograph of a doctor from Hyderabad who had climbed Mount Everest some years back without oxygen, I felt I should be doing it. Why? I said, see, he is so successful. Then I said, are you not successful? He said, I'm not successful because my photograph doesn't come as a national news. So I want to have a national news. That's what I was impressed, not by his efforts to actually reach the Mount Everest. I was impressed by the photograph of that person in the national news, which I am craving for. And then I realized that there are other areas, there are other pathways, there are much more bigger things which I can do with the same thing which I have, rather than investing myself unnecessarily into these dreams of climbing Mount Everest without the oxygen cylinder. That's why we'll answer your first. So if you are able to answer the why very well, give yourself 2 marks. Then you go for what you need to sacrifice for this why. Let's say you want to have a bike and you are able to answer this why very well. Then you say what you need to sacrifice to have this bike. Or if I have to climb Mount Everest, what do I need to sacrifice? Make a list. Are you ready to shell out your time from the daily routine? Are you able to invest yourself into the mountaineering course? Are you able to shell out that much of money? Once you have the bike, how much will be the maintenance? Are you able to do that? Once you have the bike and have the maintenance, are you going to have the time to move around? Then would you like to have a girlfriend also to sit on the pillion as a pillion? So all these things will increase your list of, what you need to shell out or what you will achieve. And how much time will you have to shell out from your basic goal of education? So if you are able to actually invest more than 70% of your list, like leaving television, shunning away from society, increasing your working hours, sleeping late and going for even regular classes without missing them. Are you able to do this? And 75% of your list can be accomplished by your efforts. Then definitely you give 2 marks to your question of what you need to sacrifice. Then you have to work on how you are going to achieve it. If you have a complete protocol, details, and step-by-step approach to your solution, then you give 2 marks. And the last question is, when will it be fulfilled? If you have a complete timeline, like you had to enter this engineering college, you have a timeline. Right from your 10th standard, you are thinking about entering an engineering. So you know that by the time you are in this year or by the time you are in this age, you will be achieving this. Because those who are going to go for campus interviews know that they are at the doorstep of what they had dreamt of. So similarly, you start planning about the next 10 years, 5 years down the line. Compare yourself with people who are at that age and they are doing how much are they earning. And then you think the real timeline. When are you going to achieve your goal? If you are able to achieve that timeline, then you give 2 marks. Believe me, if your scores are 8 out of 8, it's a decision. You don't have to put much efforts. If the score is between 6 and 8, you need to do more of research and introspection. And if it is less than 4, perhaps, then it is just a dream. It is just to be thrown away because there are 50,000 dreams and desires which you can cultivate over the day. It can be one dream, but it just is an obsession. It need not be a decision. So this is how we have to actually think about mental health. Practice these skills. Can we really resolve the conflict between necessary and likable is a very interesting question. As I discussed, most of the time we are in this country. Most of the time we think that we should be good looking, but is it necessary? Most of the time I see students getting disturbed by their scores. They are extremely intelligent people, but then they find themselves to be in the doldrums because their scores are less, or perhaps their positions are low. Did we really like something? Believe me, Dr. Graham from the Times of India, New York Times chief editor, has written a book called as Outliers. Many of you must have read that book. It says very simple. It says if you commit yourself to what is necessary for 10,000 marks, or your likables will reach. Many people don't believe this. Many people think that the likable has to be achieved first. But then believe me, necessaries are important when you decide on likables. There are certain don'ts first and then do's. And we jump on to do's first and forget about the don'ts. It cannot happen that if you are really sincerely working hard towards a goal and not able to like the subjects of your syllabus, then it's going to be difficult. People have really thought about many things. Like I thought of becoming a psychiatrist when I was in 12th standard. Somebody told me I have to enter the medical field. 17 subjects were not my choice. They were not likable because I wanted to become a psychiatrist. For that, gynecology was not important. For forensic medicine was not important. Pathology was boring. But then I had to carry on because it was necessary to become a graduate. If you are in an engineering field and if you realize that there are certain subjects, there are certain exams or perhaps submissions which are boring, which are not of your choice, see, you are fooling yourself because it will never happen that more than 4 out of 10 will be of your choice anytime or likable in your life. You decide on your field and there are going to be options which are not of like, but they would be necessary. I don't believe that every intelligent person would like everything around them. It cannot happen. In fact, intelligence itself makes you decide, discriminate, divide the world into likeable and dislikable. So, but those who are strong emotionally, those who have higher emotional quotient, they are able to stick to what is necessary more. Say no to something which is not necessary and likable. Sometimes see, it's very important that you should classify your day into 4 parts: likable, dislikable, necessary, unnecessary. It is very simple to do what is likable and necessary. You don't have to think. That is what decision is. But it is very difficult to resolve the conflict between what you like and which is not necessary, or perhaps which is necessary and dislikable, like the subject or the friends. Spending your time in friends may be liked. Consuming alcohol with them in the parties is likable. But is it necessary for a student? Just ask yourself. So can we control our desires, which produces likes and dislikes? And can we enhance our mental health to be intellectual, to concentrate on the necessary? This is what exactly is important. So we have to practice self-control, self-resilience. Now, do we really respect and love ourselves? When I ask this question to college-going students, they all say, yes, I love myself. Perhaps I am too selfish and loving myself. I said, you are again wrong. Because you think that your body weight is more, and you should get up in the morning, and you should go for gymming and exercises, and you are unable to get up. Now, if you are respectful to somebody, you will follow the rules of somebody, that person whom you respect. If a respectable person from your side, your heart, asks for a glass of water, would you overlook? Would you disobey? Would you not follow that rule which is important that he has asked, a request? Similarly, when you request yourself to get up early in the morning, you have yourself given a command to yourself that you have to get up and go for exercises and not able to do it consistently. How do I say that you really respect yourself? And then when you love yourself, what is the need to compare yourself with others? Because being in love with self means whatever I have, I am unconditionally in love with myself. It should not make you think to compare yourself with others' marks, others' looks, others' clothes, and others' social status on the media or perhaps in the society. If you are comparing yourself with others in any of these domains, I believe that you don't love yourself. So learn how to respect yourself and love yourself by making certain attempts on your rules, on decisions, on basically deciding on certain small things, not big things. Many of us fail because we plan a lot and don't execute. And we plan not just because we have to execute, but because we have to overcome that or perhaps fill that emptiness which is bothering us right now, or perhaps is killing us with a guilt that I am not nothing. Now today I will sit and I will first plan. I've done many times and failed miserably. Saturday evening I will sit, and from Sunday I am going to put everything onto the right track. I will finish up my assignments. I will write down everything. I will read this chapter. I will finish up this topic. But then that is only to fool myself, because I want to just plan and finish off. Because that plan gives me a lot of, a lot of happiness. Just don't plan big things. Plan small things. Saying thank you can also be a plan. Greeting your seniors can also be a plan. Just walking for 6 minutes a day to begin with can be a plan. And execute that plan religiously for 3 weeks and find your mental health growing up. Your confidence level, as you feel, will grow up. Your ability to do many more tasks in the same day would be better. Start from small things. Will make your love better for yourself. Execute that small, and your respect for yourself will grow in your own eyes. And you will never ever feel down. with any kind of ups and downs in life. So this is how we have to actually discuss ourselves within ourselves. Meet the person in you. That's what you are. You know, Vivekananda has always said that. Meditate, sit with yourself. Otherwise, you will lose the opportunity to meet the best person in the world. That is you. So interesting, so important, so lucidly reported by you. It's one of the biggest theorem today in mental health. To develop resilience, ability to be flexible with rigidity to remain the same is resilience. Just like the stainless steel, which has the flexibility as well as the strength. So develop those habits. This is what mental health is. We actually are fragile animals. Why? Because we are different. And I said why we are different, but we are different also that nature has not given us any apparatus to defend ourselves from any life-threatening situation. All animals have got something which is reflexly driving them to safety. A small animal, not as big as we are, without arms and legs, crawling on the road, on the ground, but we are afraid of it because it's a snake. It has fangs, venomous fangs. जहरीले दांत हैं उसको, इसलिए हम उससे डरते हैं. Tell me a thing, any apparatus which is given to a human being, which protects us from the cold and heat, which can protect us from big predators, which can make the predator fear because we will actually expand hugely. Or perhaps our arms can be stretched out to such a distance that we can pick up things from the distance. We have it. There is nothing given by nature to us which is an emotional apparatus to be protected. Only thing is, when we allow emotions to overpower us, our BP rises, our sugar rises, our cholesterol rises, our sweat becomes more difficult to manage, our tremors come up. This is anxiety, stress, culminating into distress in the body. So then our doctors tells us that you are under stress. That's why your sugar is not responding to the treatment. Or your BP is high because you are timid, you are basically thinking a lot, or perhaps you're fearful about something. Now, this is a difference which we need to understand. An emotional horse has to be trained by an able horse rider called wisdom. Between the wisdom and the emotion are the reins of chemistry, the body. So those who are able to manage their emotions at the right time, they become successful in the eyes of others. Perhaps they are still struggling and upgrading themselves, but for the rest of the world, they are still very high. So always there are heights, there are always levels which people are still struggling and learning. Keep learning the skills which are called as life skills, emotional quotient upgradation, self-management skills, and think about these questions. Are we different animals? Yes, yeah. We have got roles which are of choice and without choices. Are we applying themselves to? Are we not by the rules which their roles have? Or are we not following the norms? Are we breaking the norms somewhere? Learn and practice and exert yourself for socio-economic occupational stability. I will never ask anybody to leave practice of earning money. Earn, but then you must know the methods which are right for you. Can we really differentiate between dream, desire, and decision? That's how you know that sometimes when we spend 10,000 hours in learning tabla because we are impressed by Zakir Hussain. Yes, I attended a concert. I was so impressed that I should also learn tabla, and I purchased the best of the tablas. I actually recruited the best of the ustad, the teacher, and then I invested sincerely those 10,000 hours in learning tabla. And believe me, my experience of playing tabla was as at par as Zakir Hussain. Only thing is, when I get confused that then Zakir Hussain has a different level, he has different money level, he has a different popularity. No, that's a different issue. Money, popularity, glamour is a different. The joy, the happiness of playing tabla is at par. After 25 years of counseling people, perhaps I must have crossed 10,000 hours of counseling, understanding human mind. So my joy of counseling a student of engineering is as at par or at par at level, perhaps even better than Sigmund Freud, who evolved the process of counseling. But I am not that popular as Sigmund Freud is, or may not be as rich as Sigmund Freud was. So that's a different criteria altogether. So realize this, that your dream, desire, and decisions are based on the domains of how you know yourself. So ask yourself why, how, what, and when. Always, whenever you have any kind of sprouts in your mind. When we really resolve the conflict between the necessary and the likable, we become wiser. The more we apply to the likable, we become more emotional and lower animals. Do we really respect and love ourselves? By basically applying small targets successfully, executing steps or perhaps actions to those small things, and actually promising self and doing something. That's what exactly is. So I'm open for questions if you have. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, sir, for guiding us with your valuable words. Now we have a question and answer session. So I request all the participants to get your doubts cleared from sir. You may unmute yourself to ask question or you may post it in a chat box. Anybody has a question, then please put it in a chat box or you may also can ask question.
I think everybody got shocked because of this talk. Is everybody under stress? Is the syllabus of mental health too big?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
We got a question in the registration form. How to stop overthinking and stay focused on studies, and how to stay away from negative vibes.
Right. Let me clear up two things first. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let us clear up two things. The negativity is basically like darkness. So you don't need a generator to create darkness. Darkness is a natural process. When there is an absence of light, you will see darkness. Similarly, negativity is an absence of positivity. Our brain is unable to think more positively in certain situations or in certain times. That times you feel negative. So believe me, negativity doesn't come. It is there. You are overpowering it every time by your positivity. Overthinking is an ability of the exceptional mind. I'll tell you, those who are intelligent, they will think. The intelligence itself is gifted with only two outputs, one analysis and one creativity. So when you go for a over analytic thinking process, believe me, it is not a thinking process. When the thinking is out of your control, it is only because you are riding a horse without the reins. So your horse of emotion has taken over. So they are emotions. These emotions are mostly fear of future or any brooding of the past. So if you are carrying too much of past, the weight of the future, you are going to have a recurrent thinking process and difficulty in focusing the work at hand. It happens during exams. It happens before the submissions. It happens during any presentations which you are going to have. Why? Because you are thinking about the outcome. You are thinking about the result beyond. You are worried about the analysis of the people after you have presented this talk or perhaps presented your submissions or perhaps your marks of the exams. Mind is strong in the future, in the present, neither in the future, neither in the past. So learn how to remain in the present. So cultivate certain habits which will make you learn to remain more in the present. How will you cultivate them? You will use the methods prescribed all over ages. Osho has said Sakriya Dhyan. So learn how to be mindful when you are working. Mindful workingness can be cultivated by very simple steps. Like when you walk, count your steps. When you eat, don't use your stomach like a dustbin. feel the bite, chewing, swallowing process. Have you ever heard the sound of your food falling 3 centimeters in the acid of the stomach? Try to feel it. It's very exciting. This will bring you in the present. Write. When you have difficulty in reading, first start writing your own thoughts. Your thoughts in the present will always make you happy to read late, or perhaps make you quick to respond to your need of reading the book or the topic. Challenge yourself with certain internal creative thought process. Like when you see a topic which you have to finish today, try to jot down the points of those topics. What you haven't read, but you must have heard something about it. You may be wrong, but you write down what you know about it. And then compare your notes in the book or that notes of the chapter or the notes which have been given by your teacher. And then you find two things, something matching, something not matching. So when you feel that you are 60-70% of what you know is already there in the book, or perhaps what is there in the book is already there in your mind, it will make you happy and motivate you to read further. These are the things. Meditate, think, close your eyes. When you eat, feel the bite. Close your eyes, listen to the sounds coming around, or close your eyes and feel the temperature of the air in your nose. That's enough to come into the present. The moment you come into the present, your emotional turmoil goes down. So your thought process becomes purer. They are not driven by emotions now. Now you are in control of your emotions. So they slow down. And that is a time when you say that there is no negativity because you become positive. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We have one more question from Mayuri. How to avoid disturbance in personal life hindrance, professional life? Please.
It's a big workshop. Mayuri, you have asked a very big question. I will answer it in short because we carry workshops of 5 days to bring work-life balance. Now,
Yes. One more question we have from Kshitij Bhasme. He is asking, is there any instant solution for feeling down and stay inactive emotionally and physically?
sorry, I did not get the words. What is it?
So is there any instant solution for feeling down and staying inactive emotionally and physically?
See, feeling it for a very long time can be depression. First and foremost, we must not experience depression. If you have depressive feelings, depressive thoughts, feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, worthlessness, then you must consult a psychologist, psychiatrist. If it is milder, you can get cured by counseling sessions. You can get the best of the counseling session in this city by various psychologists and psychiatrists for cognitive behavioral therapies, rational emotive behavioral therapies. And you will feel good when you talk to them for the first time also sometimes. But if it is serious, you need to be medicated because your serotonin might be depleted. You might be suffering from hypothyroidism. You might be suffering from anemia. And that's why you must get a medical evaluation done. Third, if it is laziness, so there are two things which I am finding it very difficult to treat in this country: laziness and corruption. We don't have medication. We are really failing into our life skill education program to correct corruption and laziness. So if you really want to win over laziness, you have to decide over laziness, that you have to conquer it, because that's a signal that you don't love yourself. So start loving and win over your laziness. But if you are depressed, consult a senior, consult a psychologist. If it is serious, take a medication, go for evaluation, medical evaluation. That can be an instant relief. That's it. Okay. One question which I was about to answer about Mayuri was life-work balance. Mayuri, remember, work is the last institution created by human society to teach us better life skills, to get connected with what we like, and basically to accept what comes with our liking. Suppose if I select a job which is of my profile, my studies, and it also gives me a salary which I wanted, but am I there to select the boss or the subordinates? Would I get the compartment or the room or the table, chair, and the fan of my choice in that department or in that industry. Just look into it. Your colleagues, your seniors, and your juniors would be not of your choice. So you must learn the ability, the art of accepting something which is not of your choice because it is necessary. You have to accept it. So the first failure in the work-life balance is when you start cribbing about the people around. No, there are certain deficiencies in everybody. So will be it in me. And then that is where the wisdom rises when you start applying your life skills to adapt to people and environment. So the life skill balance का पहला principle क्या है मेरी कि we must realize that it is only for our improvement that we have got challenges. Everybody wants to be successful, and for every success there are exams, and none of the exams have been conducted with your choice. Otherwise, it will not be an exam. है ना? कभी आपसे पूछ के कोई एग्जामिनर आया और उसको बोला कि मैं आपको कौन सा सवाल पूछना चाहूंगा ये बता दो, मैं वो क्वेश्चन पेपर में डालता हूँ, कौन से दिन आपका एग्जाम होना चाहिए बता दो, उसी दिन एग्जाम रखते हैं, कैसे करेक्शन करके मार्क्स देने वो भी बता दो, मैं वही मार्क्स दूंगा. Will you agree with this? It will not. So most of the time our expectations, our aspirations, our apprehensions make us weak. They are all emotions. And we must learn that whenever we are troubled by a situation, somewhere our emotions are not in our control. Somewhere our likables are more dominant over the necessaries. Somewhere our wisdom is not able to take care of our own desires. Right?
Sir?
Yeah.
A very good evening, sir. So it's not like, I mean, how should I put it in words? In fact, keeping the mental health concept in our mind, we often push ourselves to do certain things, despite knowing the fact that it will be hard on us in future. So how should I personally overcome it? Because I had a really bad experience recently. I was on the verge of being hospitalized because of that. But now, after listening to your session, I do feel that mental health, physical health is way more important than any other things.
Yeah, I missed on one sentence you made. Can you just repeat in between what you said? You actually made a choice, and then what happened?
Yeah, I mean, what I wanted to say is that despite keeping the mental health concept in our mind, we often push ourselves to do certain things, knowing the fact that it will affect our body, our mind in certain ways. So how should I overcome it personally?
Okay, exactly. When you actually assess a target, see, even the tiger is not successful more than 3 times out of 10 in its kill.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so believe me, it's your personal courage to actually go ahead with these kinds of targets, which are exorbitantly sometimes put high. You know, sometimes people have very high stakes. Sometimes they set targets which are very high. So it happens that sometimes we exhaust ourselves in reaching those targets.
Literally.
If you believe me,
Yeah.
if you believe me, I'll tell you one sentence which will make you feel different.
Okay, sir.
Any target in this world is our own creation.
Absolutely.
So there cannot be the target, and the pathway cannot be bigger than your power, because you have decided it's a branch of your main personality. But when we appear for that exam, or perhaps when we apply ourselves for that, the fear of losing that target or perhaps failing on that path makes us feel that the target is bigger than us.
Yeah.
So that belief crushes us more, and that exhausts our body because we overdo sometimes, push ourselves more than the required, or perhaps do not cultivate the being happy, being positive with that effort, and then the burden or majburi जिसको हम कहते हैं, or perhaps that stress which was considered, which was there as a part of the process of reaching goal, becomes stressful, distasteful, and does not revive our energies overnight. Otherwise,
Mhm.
if you see physically exhausted, exhaustion should come to the people who are the farmers now,
Mhm.
but it doesn't come to them. Even if you do, people go for Amarnath Yatra, 14 now, 14, I mean, 14 hours they will walk on difficult terrain.
Mhm.
They don't come exhausted. Do you see anybody coming back exhausted? Nobody,
Mhm.
because they have enjoyed it. That
The process.
yes, it's a thought process. There is no difference between thrill and panic biologically in the brain.
Mhm.
Only the attitude. If you take a PET scan or an MRI, functional MRI of a person who was sitting on a roller coaster, or a person who was being threatened by a tiger in the jungle, the MRI will not be able to distinguish them that one was in fear and one was enjoying.
Mhm.
The
That's right.
MRI of the brain is same. The perception of the human being, the mind is different. One is panic, fear, fear of losing life, and the other is thrill at the highest of the enjoyment.
Mhm.
So it is the attitude. So when you talk about any target, when you set any goal,
Mhm.
think that it is my goal and I am bigger than the goal.
Mhm.
Only thing is I have to make bigger and bigger when I reach the goal.
Mhm.
So add your lifestyle to such a way that you eat in time, because most of us have neglected our physical health for the sake of goal.
Yeah.
Never do that. The primary self is this entirety of mind, body, and soul, which has to be respected first. So the body needs only 4 things. It should be given 4 things before it starts walking towards the goal. It requires 8 hours or 7 hours of sleep. At least 7 hours of sleep in 24 hours in breaks also is okay.
Mhm.
It requires 2 meals. It requires hygiene,
Mhm.
taking bath and going to toilet. And it requires basically a few minutes of exercises every day.
Mhm.
So if you attend these 4 things, your physical needs are over.
Mhm.
That means it is the instrument to work for goal will be perfect. Maintenance is on. Then in mind, you require just 15 minutes of cooling down.
Mhm.
If you learn that 15 minutes of cooling down, you are with yourself now. Most of the time, we run so much towards our goal that we lose contact with ourselves. We get lost. And that is most troublesome. And that's the time when I'm seeing people actually falling sick,
Mhm.
physically or mentally. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now moving on to the next question. This question is from Tushar. He is asking that how to control emotions and overcome negativity.
I have discussed it. Exactly this was a question when I began with. Negativity is basically going to be there like the darkness in the space. It's your light which makes the negativity disappear. The positivity has to be cultivated. Mental health is basically increasing your positivity to deliver your own decisions in the right way. We can discuss. It's basically again a repetition of what I said. Again, the same thing, that emotions are your horse, thoughts are your rider, and be positive with the thoughts by making living in the present. Don't allow your past and future to encroach on your present. Most of us do that, and then we start thinking negative, because negative thinking is nothing but decreasing positive thoughts. That is dominance of the emotions. It's like clouds of the emotions will block the sunlight of your thoughts, and then the darkness is natural. It doesn't require any generator.
So next question we have from Paresh. He is asking what is an ideal human behavior towards other people. They become toxic in your life, but still we remember memories with them. We find many more reasons to cover previous uh, deficiency, just like we are hiding them or surprising them. How to overcome this?
Uh, yeah, actually, it's not a question of your specific. Ideal human being is God, what we have created from our own wisdom. One who is omnipresent, omnipotent, and belonging to everybody. One which reaches the empathy level. Empathy is when you actually can feel the person in their shoes, putting yourself into them. And then you actually can empathize why the person is angry with you. Not just because you are bad. but he might have had bad experiences with you or with others, and perhaps he's in the blurting out. So the toxicity of the people is not the people, their responses to us, their reactions towards us. When I say people react, or when you react, you regress to lower human beings. When we respond, we become higher human beings. As I said, nature has given us the ability to control our emotions. That means we are responders, not reactors. And hence, we must learn not to react, but to respond. Not to respond to the previous injuries or perhaps future threats is not our job. The job is to actually consolidate the present, and automatically the both of them will vanish because they are not in context of time today. So, see, क्या करते हैं हम लोग? क्या श्राद्ध पक्ष होता है, हड़पक बोलते हैं उसको। पुराने गए हुए लोगों का भी श्राद्ध करते हैं। श्राद्ध करने का मतलब क्या होता है? जो चला गया उसके लिए क्या करना है? अरे मेरी ही मेमोरीज में उनके प्रति जो कुछ भी भावनाएं रह गई होंगी उनको विचारों में कन्वर्ट करूं, और विचारों से मैं अपने स्ट्रेंथ में कन्वर्ट करूं, यही श्राद्ध है। So they are not existent physically around me, but there are memories which are emotionally loaded. The way they talk, the way they did wrong, or perhaps they did good, or whatever they did to me, positive or negative, whatever. But now it's a time when I should cultivate my habits of converting that memory into my own strength. My own strength can be even increasing my ability to stop frustration, increase frustration tolerance, can be just resilience, can be just judgment about time, can be just presence of mind. These are all skills which will come up with, those people who have been troubling you or perhaps negatively loaded in your mind. Even sadness associated with them can become very big strength. See, I cannot be happy to recollect my father, whom I lost 5 years back. And whenever I recollect all those events with which I shared, I feel sad I've lost him. Closest person, when they are lost, we feel sad. Bereavement is perpetual in your mind. But then convert that energy into what is I am doing. Let me serve his intentions. Let his goodness be expressed through me. That's what is the learning process. Okay. Right? Ankita, may I request that I have certain appointments at 5:30. Can we close it down?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for answering the question. We would be glad to hear a few words from Shiny ma'am. Over to you, Shiny ma'am.
Thank you, Ankita.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, sir. And as truly said, this session can actually go on and on because students have such a huge lot of questions. And it's really lovely to see them asking questions and coming up. So this is exactly what it is, that awareness about mental health is so important and it needs to be discussed. And as sir truly said, students, there are certain points. Pick up those points is what sir has said. A problem is not a problem until you think of it as a problem. And when you think of it as a problem, then starts your negativity. As sir said, it's positivity which is always there, but we are lessening that and that leads to negativity. And another thing what sir said is darkness, we don't need a generator to create darkness. Light is always there. So that's what we are. Within you shines the light. It says within you is the light of 1,000 suns. Believe in that. The brightness lies within you. So there are so many techniques which sir has told us today of prevention of issues, and amongst them, I think life skills was one, self-management, emotional quotient. We have to develop on all these skills, and that is where we can lead a very, very happy life. As sir said, necessity and likable. This is really the major conflict coming up because we keep on demanding things from ourselves, from our parents, and from everybody, because we like so many things. So that's not what it is. It is whether it is likable or whether it is necessity. There are differences there. And when you start questioning why, how, when, and planning, and there you can resolve your conflicts. And mind you, conflict should not take a long time to resolve. It should be quickly resolved. And yes, if you feel that you need some time or you need some help, definitely come over. And for YCC, the counseling cell of YCC is always there. You can all anytime contact and take help from there. So, right, with that, I think, yes, we will have to please her. So students, mental health is not a destination, it's a process. And it is the process, how beautifully you enjoy the process of becoming what you are, your goals, your dreams, how beautifully you enjoy the process of becoming that is what mental health is all about. And that is how you create your own happiness. So with that, once again, thank you, sir. And over to Ankita for an official vote of thanks to Dr. Pangaonkar, sir. Over to you, Ankita.
Thank you once again, ma'am. I would like to invite Pranay Devgade to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Pranay.
Thank you, Ankita. What an informative and marvelous session it was, sir. We are glad to have such an amazing session with you. Thank you, sir, for guiding us with such a helpful idea and method with such an elegant explanation of everything and everything. I need to mention my deepest sense of appreciation. I also would like to thank Dr. Shaini Suraj ma'am for being the backbone of a psychological cell and always support us to make wonders like this to happen in our institute. Thank you so much, ma'am, for helping in initiating talk series with such an amazing talk by Dr. Shailesh Pangaonkar. At the end, I would like to announce the launch of Sci, the magazine of psychological cell. We are releasing second issue of volume 2. Today's evening, this link will be sent via email. Also, before ending the session, on behalf of Psychological Cell, I would like to thank the organizing team of talk series host Ankita Thakur, Ms. Pragya Vatsa, and Ms. Sakshi Kohad. Attendees are requested to fill the feedback form and will send to via email and available in chat box as well. And can everyone turn on the cameras for a minute for a let's for a screenshot for this moment. Let's have a screenshot for this moment. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. YCCNs, thank you. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Take care, everybody. Take care. Good night.
Ending the meet in 10 seconds.